Yo, hello guys. We have a little bit of a new announcement with the Play Pokemon Rules document. If you don't know, we still have like a good few weeks of Regulation D, and there was a constant concern that we would actually have these new DLC moves for the rest of Regulation D, but that has been confirmed to not be true. We will just be playing the same Regulation D format. None of the DLC moves that are coming in tomorrow will be legal for the Regulation D format until we actually go into Regulation E starting October 1st and January 2nd. And rental teams may be required by staff as a way to check the legality of the Pokemon that you're using. So that's another interesting thing as well. And also a bit of a rule update around how head judges can rule over double DCs. Like, we'll try and go over this as much as we can here and let's look at the official rule document, but that's the general coverage. There's not any big changes to the format. Like, we'll have the same rule set with Regulation Set D as we had before. As you see here, temporary post-release restrictions clause. Any Pokemon forms, held items, moves, and other traits that are obtainable only in the DLC will continue to be restricted from play at the Championship Series events for the duration of Regulation Set D. So yeah, none of the moves, none of the new forms of Pokemon, none of that. Will this be completely good on that? And I do want to actually read the thing on rental teams. Let's see, players may be asked by event staff to register their rental teams and provide the rental teams IDs. Rental teams may be used for record keeping or team checks, and they may be utilized on a provided console for streamed matches, particularly if players are using a Nintendo Switch console to participate in the tournament. Players may not alter or delete their rental teams for the duration of the tournament. This is a pretty cool thing. I think this is just a setup for how they're going to do the streams now. Because, you know, there's open sheets for these tournaments, and they're going to use those rental codes and display them on the stream, and then have that as their way to, like, give players information on the battles as they're going. Because one of my main gripes with how VGC streams are working right now, and how this from a production standpoint we're basically going in blind while the players are going in with full info and the commentators are going in full info. So this will make things a bit easier on the commentators and a bit easier on the spectators, because there's so much emphasis on the commentators had to give us that info as the spectator. But now that that info will be available through those rental teams, that is a good way to just help ease up and make the game a lot more watchable. So that is a good change as well. And the last thing would be head judge can rule over double DCs. I want to look at that as well. Double DCs. Oh, well. I think this was a response to Worlds to allow the judges to, like, rule in one favor. Head judge reserves the right to override the resolution of a double game freeze in exceptional situations in favor of avoided game at their discretion. Yeah, so this is a rule change on result of World's Top 16, where if you don't know, World's Top 16, someone knocked over the table and had a bunch of, like, disconnections go across the board. So even if a player was in, like, a super favorable position, they would have to, like, just null the game and restart. And this ultimately, like, we saw Emilio Forbes go through this, and he notably said that he would have won his set and potentially brought Brambleghast farther in the World Championships. So now if he is able to, like, articulate it to the head judge is now able to say, hey, this game was over. This is like 4-1, 3-1, whatever. You have no argument for it not being over, so we'll just say, hey, this player gets the win. I don't believe you had a chance at comeback, and let's move on. Which I think this is ultimately a positive change. It does provide some risk, but it does at least help a little bit when it comes to like game resolutions. This has an impact on how the resolution should occur. Yeah, it's at their discretion though, so this is the guideline, like 4-1, 3-1. Like, they could technically give a win for the player at 4-2 because it's at their discretion. And that's going to be an important thing. I imagine most of the time, since they are likely not going to be watching the whole game, they'll just follow this doc and just go tie, 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 or this will win, right? But during like a top cut match where there isn't the ability to tie, then the 4-2 will probably just be a win, you know. Or if it's like 4-3 and it's about even, they can just say, oh yeah, this replay. So yeah, there's a lot more situation analysis in that regard, and that's pretty important and a good rule change in itself, apart from the this like quality of life change for the stream, and then this knowing now that Regulation D DLC moves will not be available for Regulation D, which I think is good, though it makes Regulation D horribly uninteresting to me. But it already kind of was. I'm not going to a Regulation D event at all, so this has very little effect on me ultimately. But yeah, that's it for this one. Let me know what you think about these new rule changes. That's all. Goodbye.